Hey, how's it going? I have a couple of cards. And it's interesting. One's from yesterday. And I'll deal with that one first. So, the number on the card is 16. That adds up 7. For the numerology portion of our talk. That's about it, though. If you want to know more about the number 7 numerology, well, I guess I could look a little something up real quick. I mean, I know, but I can't, give you a coherent sentence about what it's about. Hold on a minute. Okay, so, unplug. The thing about numerology is it can be like newspaper astrology. Very pop. Not very deep. And the thing about both of those disciplines is once you sort of start looking into that, like if you start learning how to do either of them, what you discover is there's so much more to it. There's more varieties of it than you might first realize of both. I don't know what it's from, but whatever I was eating earlier, like a while ago, it feels like I just chewed on sand. Like if I was at the beach, which I haven't been in so many years. So many years is depressing. Does this sound backwards? It is not. Oh, I know why it doesn't fit right. Anyway, so I did look it up, and here's what it says. Numerology meaning of number 7. The meaning of the number 7 in numerology. That's... Okay. I got my new prescription. It's better than the last new one, but I can't see. I think I have to put on my other glasses, but I couldn't see with those very well either. And because to put them in these frames, these Ray-Ban frames, I have to pay $100 extra for them to be sunglasses. What do you call them? Alterations? Expositions? Some things. But, you go out in the sun and it automatically shades. But the prescription, I guess... I've done that before and it's interesting. With my eyesight taking a dive, it actually helps. So, yeah. This is... this is not good. Stop trying to go dark. Okay. The meaning of number 7. Lovely profile. Can't have that. Hold on a second. Here we go. So the meaning of number 7 represents the seeker, the thinker, the analyst, and the eternal searcher of truth. In numerology, the number 7 is universally associated with wisdom, introspection, spiritual awareness, and the desire to understand life's deepest mysteries. The 7 does not take anything at face value, and it's never satisfied with surface explanations. Instead, it continuously seeks the hidden truth behind appearances, knowing instinctively that reality is often veiled by illusion. So, like the number 7 card, where you have a number of choices, and you just don't know by looking which is the good choice and which is not, because you can have, a cup with snakes in it, or a cup with gold pieces in it, or 5 other things that could be good or bad, depending. A lot of symbology in the contents of the cups. Anyway, The meaning of the number 7 revolves around questioning, investigating, and uncovering what lies beneath the obvious. Okay, so that's enough. Let's see what the card here has to say. The Declaration of Mary Magdalene card. It says, "Our love for one another is through the Sacred Heart, in an elevated bliss of our Mother Father God's divine love within us." Okay, so that's kind of dense, so let's work through this. I've been thinking a lot about how we are to each other right now, and we've had a lot of examples of sort of clashing. Well, not sort of. I mean, it's just been straight up clashing with each other to various degrees of intensity. So, you know, if you know how the news works, and this used to be mainly like what you could get on your television, like network news, but now there's all these other alternative news sources, and some of them give you all of the facts, and some of them give you alternative facts. So, sorry, notification. But, you know, I try to keep, like, in a positive state about these things, because I know there's good things that happen all the time, like here in my house all the time. Good things happen. Outside, when I leave the house, good things happen. Like, the market down the street from my house here, last summer, 2 times, the person ahead of me just bought my groceries. That's amazing. And people are very friendly, and you just have like you walk up to a stranger, and next thing you know, you're having a full-on, in-depth conversation. You know, and by the time you part ways, you know each other's name, you know, like, the general area of where the other person resides, and those are really good things. So, we had a months and months and months of, like, ice, and the never-ending, you know, mass ballistic events and other ballistic events. So, no shortage, right? And boy, we tired of it. News of wars, injustice. God, we are just tired of it. It's, like, painful on our souls, for God's sake. Like, how much more can we take? Like, it's so hard and it's so expensive, and, you know, these forces are working our society and our reality, like, working it in the worst way. And none of it has been legislated. None of it is being done according to the rules and the Constitution that, like, the general public totally has to adhere to and are bound by. But, you know, another section of society is above the law, and they can do whatever they want and completely ignore the laws. And that's, for one thing, infuriating. Like, how dare you, sir? Like, you can't just change it now just because. But you know what? It seems like they are. But that doesn't happen without a level of, like, consent on our part, on everybody else's part. So let's just back up from that a little bit and realize that I'm not saying that, you know, the people that don't want it to happen are secretly like, ooh, let it happen, like, and nobody else knows. But conditions have to be, like, the right kind for this type of situation that we have to flourish. So there is a level, there's a degree of complicity on everyone's part. Like, that's how societies work. Or, in our case right now, don't work. I mean, they're working for some people. And they're also able to like do this within the confines of this constitutional law situation that most of us have to adhere to. Like I said, like white collar crime, man. They know all the ins and outs of the cheating and the law. So, but conversely, the World Cup is somehow here in America. That's never happened to my knowledge. And it's weird. It's all over the place in various locations. Part of it I understand is because of travel issues. I don't want to, you know what I don't want. But there have been travel issues, and there are issues at play here all the time. Some of us are just like, yep, this is normal. So, thing about that is, those are like unhappy little moments of it, but things are still progressing regardless. You know, matches are being played. People are going to other locations if for whatever reason they can't come here and play the football. So, but the ones that can come here, there are all these great videos of people from all these other countries that have seen other YouTube videos like Jolly or Best Food Review or Mark Wiens or I don't know that Calvin guy's show, but I know he has a show. He's off and on with Sonny on Best Food Review, Best Ever Food Review Show. But, you know, there's a whole genre of that where people are going around and eating the food and talking to the people, and it's like feel-good television, you know? So I like that. I like to watch me some puppy and kitten videos and just baby animals, pretty much. Just whatever I have to do to sort of take myself out of the other stuff that I was that I said off the top there that is kind of distressful. And so there's just a joy, like, it's not across the board. There are those that are like, this is banned in my country. How do you people live? I cook for myself and I'm still gaining weight. You know, but that guy, he's like, the food here is like so terrible, but it tastes so good. And then there's Americans sort of interspersed between like Scots going crazy in Walmart and like jugs of mayo and spaghetti sauce, and like I think Caribbean dudes, they're black and they had accents, but I think it was the Caribbean one as opposed to the African one. Are there other places where there's black people? I don't know. Anyway, just a lot of, and Europeans, the Scots in particular, like, are really appreciative of our junky food. They're like, everyone has a thing that is attractive to them that they've seen in a YouTube video, or they've seen Americans ranting about, like, we'll have you gotta try this. So, the pleasant surprise is great. Discovering that airplanes fly over the matches, and then the Europeans are like, holy God, wow, that's insane. And they're like, we are like, meh, happens all the time. And it kind of does. And I think this guy was an Englishman, and he had, I don't know, saw another Englishman come to the football, I don't know to call it stadium. When I was in high school, what was it, the football field, what was the name? I don't know. I didn't really attend that too much, so I don't, as you can see, I don't recall, but the one that they went to, this British guy, it was much more than any football field, you know. There's a name for it. It's not stadium. It's not arena. It's for your high school, for God's sake. But those have a lot more people in them now, I think, than they used to. Anyway, though, this thing was state of the art. I mean, it looked like a professional game was going to be played there, and they were like, we usually We have our soccer matches in a park with dog shit everywhere. A little park. Well, you know we got to do everything big and stupid here. Because we're the biggest and the best, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, the good things in life. And, you know, and then I also like to watch Just Nate with a K. Because that, again, is feel-good television. And Feeding Street Cats, they're in Morocco, I believe. But I think there's one in Egypt, too. It doesn't matter. I like their videos, and I love the kitties, and I gotta, you know, help somewhere. So those are two of the places I like to contribute to. I like to rotate who I do give to, so it's always something different. But what I'm getting at, oh, and then there was another guy, and this has nothing to do with the World Cup, but it has to do with people being together and enjoying each other's company. And despite all of the stuff like the banned foods and the, you know, too much, all the chemicals and salt and blah, it's like, yeah, but the people are getting along pretty darn good with each other, and that is good to see. And they're like so appreciative of everything here and us. And I don't think we're like that when we go to other countries. Like, I just know how we are, and there's just been like my whole lifetime of Americans going somewhere and being mad at the foreign country where they're the foreigner. You're the foreigner, dummy. Sorry. God, I'm really trying to cut that out. It's so hard. So hard to not, like, just call names and act normally, act how I used to, not even care if I was that way, just say whatever. But even still, I was, like, kind of saving it for when it was warranted, you know? I'm not just running around with a half-cocked mouth gun ready to spew the insults and the name-calling. No! Trying to get away from that. Or, you know, I started doing the trying to get away a while ago, so I'm well into it. But that last thing that just happened, sometimes you just well up with Debbie. You know how it is. So, that's what I think this card is talking about, though. That love for one another is through the Sacred Heart in an elevated bliss of our Mother, Father, God's divine love within us. Divine Mother, Father, God, or Mother, Father, God is like the master template for the twin flame situation, I would say. But the bliss is the getting joy out of the other person's joy. That is like, I mean, if that's gonna be any kind of like God thing, that's gotta be it. Because I'll tell you what, here's everything I mentioned. I was like not sobbing, but I did have like tears running down my face for a couple of things I was looking at today. I don't know what it was, but today was the day to like put my heart on the clothesline and let all of the emotions get beaten. everything that came through my feed today, I was like, oh my god, that's so cute, that's so nice, oh my god. It's ridiculous, but it felt kind of good. You know, it's better than the dread and the anxiety that the other stuff gives you. Like, I like this way better. So I think that's what this is referring to. Like, oh, so the last thing that I was gonna say, there was a guy, a white guy, and I guess he had like black neighbors, and they invited him to go to church. And he didn't understand that going to a black church means you get dressed up. And then finally let the boys wear tennis shoes. And I guess the girl could too. But you still gotta like put on a nice shirt and pants, and things have to be ironed and stuff. Like, it's just really not done. Like, I was raised Catholic, and part of my family was raised Baptist, which is more like what this guy went to, because Catholicism has a thing that is a schedule. You do certain things in a certain order. You know what to expect, and unless the priest is long-winded for stuff, you're only going to be in there like 45 minutes. You know what you're in for. The Baptist one, I went, oh my gosh. I went with my uncle's family, my aunt and uncle's family, and my aunt is my father's sister, so we are Catholic. And so my uncle that married my aunt was Baptist, and we went to his church, and it was me, my uncle, and my girl cousin. There was a boy, one other boy at the time, and we were kids. We were like, she was still in high school, I was in junior high school. We were still kids. We go in that church, and first we have to like stand up and introduce ourselves to all these people, and that place was like sardine can packed. And LA is stupid hot all of the time, so it was like a pressure cooker. But yeah, it was really like nerve-wracking because you got to get up and like say hi to everybody and introduce yourself. And when you're like 10, you're not used to doing that. If you don't go to that church, it was just like overwhelming. And then it did other church stuff differently than I was used to, because it was a black church. The Catholic churches had like everything. Or where I lived, it was a more white neighborhood, but with other like Latino, Filipino, more diverse. And then in my uncle's neighborhood, where he took us, or it wasn't his neighborhood, but the church where he took us to, everybody black. Like I was probably the lightest person in that place, and we were there for like 4 hours. It was insane. There's all this singing and talking and preaching and testimonial and people like doing solos. I mean, I was like, get me out of here. Like, I suppose I would have appreciated it more if I were like closer to adult age, because the music was fine at the time. Now I appreciate it more. It's probably like excellent, you know. But anyway, that is another place where you can feel that feeling of joy at each other's joy, you know. You're just sort of basking in it. So this guy, white guy, he doesn't know about the dress code, and he also doesn't know that, I'm going to make a black joke here, this is the one place where you don't show up late. He was like 15 minutes late, and he made everybody else late, but they did wait for him, and he went to the church, and so he's like, I didn't know what to expect, and I'm sure he was very conscious of being the only white guy there. But see, this is a place, like, if you're invited in there, everyone is going to be just so sweet to you, like, don't even worry about it. And that's what he described, but what he described also was how the first part of it was like an hour of everybody singing. And that was like crazy. He said that at one point, he said his hands were up in the air and he didn't know why. And you know, he went on to describe it more, but it's very much like what I was saying. Goes on for a long time. He talked about a lot of standing up and sitting down, and that there's a lot of call and response in that. Catholic Church, there's a lot of standing up and sitting down, but also some kneeling. But like I said, 45 minutes as opposed to 4 hours, two different things. Kind of still like manufacture the same feeling though. And so at the end of the church thing, I don't know if it's called a mass if it's Baptist, but at the end of it, he said that he was like, oh, my mind was blown. I didn't know like who I was, whatever. He really enjoyed it. And he said the next week he showed up on time, had like a dress shirt and shoes and everything on, and looked all nice, and sat down next to the same neighbor lady, I guess, and, you know, he described her outfit from week to week as purple hat, to Pink Hat. And I'm just laughing because I know exactly what he means. And so, he went back, and I guess he's a church-going guy now down at the Black Baptist Church. But, I mean, I guess it felt that good, because he sure seemed like, I mean, he said that. Wherever you can find it, you know? And I love the biracial aspect of the whole thing. Like, we need to integrate and stop fighting each other and start fighting the finks that are setting us against each other. Dadgummit. Okay, next card is number 48. That adds up to 12. What the heck? Let's look at 12. Be right back. Alright, we got 12 here. Oh, I wanted to say something else about the other card. With the 7, it was talking about the seeking and the analyzing. That is something also that is, there's a lot of that happening right now between, like, the Epstein files and then, like, just government secrecy about, like, UFOs and there's a lot of, like, lawsuits and investigations and things going on, and some of it's, like, manufactured, some of it's real, some of it's deeply serious and important, some of it not so much. So there's that, like, seeker aspect. Just wanted to say that. So, okay, I had found number 12 in numerology, meaning, let's see here. Number 12 in numerology carries a feeling of completion that is almost instinctive. No, thank you. It appears so frequently across cultures, calendars, and symbolic systems that it feels like an abstract number and more like a structural truth. Oh, it feels less like an abstract number and more like a structural truth. 12 doesn't shout, it organics. Oh, it organizes. I'm not one of those people that can't read. I'm just tripping over my dentures. 12 doesn't shout, it organizes. It gathers fragments into a whole and gives movement a rhythm that can be lived with. What? I don't even know what the hell that means. It gathers fragments into a whole. Oh, clock face. Yeah, I called you clock face. No, I didn't, but you know what I mean. Okay, where some numbers represent desire, rupture, intensity, 12 represents coherence, the moment when experience stops scattering and begins to form a meaningful cycle. Well, once you go through all of the numbers on the clock, you end up with 60 minutes. There. Hope that helps. Numerologically, 12 combines the force of... Oh, no, I don't want to read that. Pass. So... Man, this is funky. I'm glad I came up with clock face. So, but basically what it's talking about here is going through the cycle to understand 12. I think. Because this is pretty floral. I'm not going to look up a whole bunch of other things. We'll just leave it at that. Okay, so this one is brief. It says, life is our gift and love is our remembrance of home. Okay, so... I mean, I don't... no notes. Yeah, okay, so life is our gift. When I hear that, I think about... Or when I see that, I think about the fact that I have been told by a number of channel beings that to incarnate here at this time is something that is highly sought. I mean, it's not like Black Friday at the at the Best Buy, but I guess the there's a lot of people that really want to come here and experience what's happening here. Just like the people come to the FIFA games, they're just like, glutting themselves on the experience of being here. And that's completely understandable. That's what we do when we see new and fascinating and shiny, and I want some of that. I want to do that. That's how we are. So life, to be here and have the life, to be born into the life, it is what many people want to be doing from off this world. There's, I guess, a line formed, and to come here, like, your whole experience, your every living moment is something to learn from, and for beings that don't really have a wide spectrum of emotional color, coming here must be like an onslaught of just sound and colors and who knows what all other stimuli, but it must be crazy because I get the impression off-world people are more Spock-like than, one of us. So, you get to come here and start wilding out, I guess. But not in a negative way. Like, you're just doing things that you normally couldn't or wouldn't do, if you were not here. And most people are not here. I mean, there's a vast population, allegedly, out in the space. And so, I don't think I don't know how many can come here at one time, but I don't think all of them. I think there's more of them than the place is big enough to support that many. Okay, love is our gift, and love is our remembrance of home. So I don't have that pining for home thing, like, I feel like I'm from somewhere else, or I feel out of place. Those feelings I do get, but I'm not all, I have to place the planet and the galaxy. I really, didn't worry about it that hard, but I guess I wasn't understanding what I was feeling. Like, I'm thinking of, when you are infatuated with someone and you're, about to be in love, or you are in love, and it's just, really intense, and, I don't really have another word for it right now, but if you are, pining for that feeling, for that chasing love feeling, that might be what they're talking about, the longing for home, the remembrance of home. Because have you noticed, I don't know how old anyone is watching this, but by the time I was in my mid to late 20s, I had already heard someone say, oh, when we're together, we're home, or wherever we are is home. And so in that frame of context, I kind of understand what this card is saying. It's not necessarily a romantic thing like I was perceiving it as. I'm just realizing right now that it could have been something else, and the something else it could have been is that longing for wherever I came from, and I just didn't recognize it as such. I mean, I don't know if that sounds good. Let's just go with that. But the remembrance of home, and that's that off-world place where You're not who you are here. The look and everything that stays here, I believe. And so, gosh, I haven't even really thought like what form, what shape did I have before I came here? What see, like, I'm not all. I know I'm this. I know that I identify with the Arcturians a lot and Andromedans, but I just like them. I don't know. That doesn't necessarily. I don't know that it necessarily means I have that lineage, but maybe it does. I mean, I guess when you resonate with it, that's what it means. Light bulb. No, I knew that one. Okay, so I feel like this card is a continuation of the second one because they're both kind of talking about the love that we find with and in each other. So, like, comradeship and also, like,